Namaste. My best wishes to all of you, and thank you for this invitation. To me, the SDG Summit is probably one of the most important and key areas which everybody working either in a business or in an NGO should be focusing on. 5 years ago, in September 2015, at a historic UN summit, the 17 sustainable goals of the SDGs of the 2030 Agenda of Sustainable Development was adopted globally by world leaders, and it officially came into force. It was envisioned by the United Nations, but I think now this is a global blueprint for dignity, peace, and prosperity. And people on the planet now and in the future have no other option except to adopt this. And over the years, I think we have made progress. I don't think it's been fast enough for multiple reasons, but there have been some steps, some major, some baby steps, but it has been taken. But it unfortunately now with the pandemic, we know that it's completely gone off track. Time to bring it back because it's got a huge impact, whether it's medical, economic, climate change, people getting pushed into poverty. I think the SDG goals and the adoption of it, the focus on it has become extremely, extremely important now. As we are talking about, the COVID-19, the pandemic of the NCDs, unfortunately, is getting pushed back. And all of us, when we adopt the SDGs, have to realize that the non-communicable diseases are actually a bigger problem. And I think the focus on that has become extremely important again. What do we need to do to really bring the world towards sustainability? I think focus is very, very important. We have a paradox now globally that while innovation, development, economies were booming, it delivered prosperity to hundreds of millions of people. But now we're looking at poverty. So we have a paradox of prosperity and poverty. And this is, again, a cause for concern and a cause for focus. The global climate system and biodiversity loss, again, could have been one of the reasons why we really had such a big pandemic. So I think a focus on that has become important again. And when we talk about sustainability, we should be talking about jobs for all, climatic change, sustainability in the way humans really use things, and they focus on how materials are being used and adopted globally. And for that, I think communication is very important. Innovation is something we cannot do away from. And nurturing talent. The new talent today has to be able to work in the workforce with sustainability, environment consciousness, health conscious, well-being, all that in mind. So we need to reskill ourselves. We need to repurpose our thinking. We need to repurpose our mindset to see how can we have a very SDG goal-oriented DNA in our system. So I think we really have to repurpose the way we function, we think, we figure ourselves out, and that is important. We also know and realize that, global economies are showing and throwing out data on how people, the workforce has been pushed into poverty. So the talent management has to be different. While on one side, we have people who don't have jobs, and on the other side, we have a huge lacuna on, a talent and a skilled workforce. Typically, if we take healthcare, for example, we don't have enough doctors, we don't have enough nurses and allied healthcare professionals. But on the other side, we're seeing that, people are jobless. So do we have to really communicate in such a way that do we have to encourage people to take on learning which will really give them jobs for the future. Look and focus at industries or businesses or innovations which will then help us provide jobs for large number of people within India and globally. India has done reasonably well because I think we had the courage to publish our results, and from 57 it's gone to 60 in terms of basis points, but I think there's still a long way to go and a lot of focus which needs to be done. Companies within India, globally, still look at how do we maximize revenues, how do we maximize margins, how do we give back shareholders' return. While I think that is important and it has to be done, we probably need to look at our balance sheet a little bit better and see that how much are we focusing on sustainability. Because we should know, realize, and understand that sustainability will actually provide a better and a more long-term sustainable balance sheet. And I think to believe in that is a choice we all have to make, but we have to believe in it first. And I think the social benefits of developing sustainable products and processes, if you weigh it against the financial costs of doing it, I would think that the former would actually, gain much more in our balance sheets. So I think that these are things which we have to focus on, and it's extremely important to do it. But can we focus on a few things? One is, can we view compliance as an opportunity? Can we make value chains sustainable? Can we design sustainable products and services for the future? Can we develop new business models which will really hold good all these goals? And can we create next practice platforms by really asking the next questions? I think it's possible. And there's an example in 2012, Polman from Unilever as a company said that I don't think our fiduciary duty is to put shareholders first. I actually would say the opposite. And this took a lot of courage at that time to say it, and that we have to improve the lives of world's citizens. And this will result in good shareholders' returns. And I think that is the key, that, a shareholder is first a global citizen. And if we can give him good, fair, equitable returns, then the financial returns will automatically follow. So as I said earlier, it is, rejigging our mindset, rejigging our DNA, and I think we can do that. These sentiments, of course, have been right and people have understood now, but the idea was never so extreme earlier as it is now. And consumers today are expecting companies to think beyond the bottom line. And board members are increasingly recognizing that sustainability is part of their board responsibility. But finally, in dealing with COVID-19, hopefully humanity has realized the sad truth, which is said that only when we are challenged in extreme situations do we gain insights about the fragility of our surroundings, and more importantly, about ourselves. And lastly, before I close, I really want to borrow from Sir Robert Swan, the British historian. He was an explorer, an activist, and best known for being the first person to walk both the poles. And he said, and I quote, that the greatest threat to our planet is the belief that someone else will save it. The greatest threat to our planet is the belief that someone else will save it. And I think here is the key, that it is for us to save our planet, for it is for us to look after our health, it is for us to look after our future generations, because it's not somebody else's job. So ladies and gentlemen, I would also like to say that India holds the key to saving the planet in the next 50 years, because we really have 1.3 billion in terms of population. So if India doesn't do it, if we all don't do it, I think there will be we will be creating a disaster, and we will be doing a great harm and wrong to our future generations. I know that as responsible citizens, we will not do it. So now is the time. It's already a bit late, but it's better now than sitting and waiting for tomorrow. So let's refocus, repurpose, and reinvigorate our mindsets to see that the sustainable development goals for the future will truly be focused and adhered to. Thank you all for being part of this, and Jai Hind. Thank you.